Welcome back to the Chosen Life podcast. He is back for another week. Initial guest of the show, friend of the show, brother, and he is the one and only George Tremis. George, EXP Realty, motivating people, teaching about real estate investment and life, right? As we start today's episode, when people want to reach out to you and have questions, real estate life, how do they reach you?
So George Tremis, if you Google my name, it's quite rare my last name, so you'll find me. Tremis, T is in Tango, R-E, M is in money, I-S. George Tremis.
There we go. And we're talking today. I'm Jonathan A. Hacohen, partner, Kormans LLP law firm for real estate and corporate, plus author, Bible 3.0, The Six Commandments of the Chosen Life. And Mr. George, today we're talking about the book. It's been almost 1 year since it's been published.
Oh, wow.
Unreal. It's time flies when you're having fun. And people going into December, January now, and where they're at in life and the things that they can take from this book as far as motivational and how to set up life systems. And you, having completed the book, you have a bunch of questions for me. So bring her on. I'm all set.
Well, first thing I want to say is it's a priceless gift. Trust me, at the price and the kind of value that your family members and friends will get from it, you can't go wrong. And I say that because I picked it up again yesterday just to get some ideas about some things I wanted to discuss. And I looked at it and I thought, my gosh, it's like I'm in university again. The tabs, the highlighting, the folded earmarked pages, like it's just full of great insights and content. And what's brilliant about it is it's not like you're being so prescriptive, but you're opening up an opportunity for the individual to reflect themselves and find their own meaning and truth in what you share. That's what I like about it the most.
It's so easy. I mean, this is not a book I wrote in abstract. These are things that I did in my own life where I was at the point I was rock bottom and no hope whatsoever. I looked my worst, felt my worst, I was sick. The doctors were diagnosing me with bad things. And I said to myself, this is not a good place to be at. And I lost my dad. He died at a very, very young age. And I said, that's not where I want to go in life. Mm-hmm. And knowing I'm not a star athlete, I'm not natural as far as when it comes to nutrition, exercise. I had no sleep patterns whatsoever, never drank water. Yoga meditation wasn't even a thought. And all the little things, all those little changes I made day by day, week by week, gradual by gradual, it doesn't come down to, George, when you're at one extreme in life, you don't overhaul it in one shot. There's no quick fix. There's no magic pill. There's no magic syringe. There's no magic boot camp. It's really simple. We take our life, we assess where it's at. We slowly put little things in. We take little things out bit by bit. We will fall. We will fail. And that's okay. And every day is a new opportunity to start again. And we keep doing these little things. And all of a sudden, here we are a year later. I looked at my life today and I thought to myself, okay, you're about, let's say, in total of 12 hours a week in the gym and at the yoga studio. It's 12 hours a week I'm investing, right?
Nice.
And I started calculating out those numbers, and you think about that, 12 hours a week, about 50 hours a month, about 600 hours in a given year. 600 hours in a given year. So in 10 years, 6,000 hours.
Yep.
So imagine it. But most people want those 6,000 hours now. I want to put 6,000 hours right this second. There isn't 6,000 hours. You need to put an hour here and a half hour here and an hour here, and bit by bit by bit, month by month, year by year, you get there. And I can say when I stopped looking at the scale, when I stopped putting pressure on myself and I just made the commitment and I'm going to do these things and I'm not going to think about anything else. This is my new lifestyle. All of a sudden 6 months pass and whoa, I look better. I feel better. Go look at the tapes of where I was at 6 months, 9 months ago. I was slipping. I had a lot of stuff. I was on the road all the time for the book signings. Sleep wasn't as good. Couldn't make it to yoga for a couple of months because I had a foot issue. And I look at myself on tape and I see where I am today. I don't even recognize that guy, George.
But so first I got to say, every time we chat, it's like my brain goes into overdrive. And I feel like that's partly why I get red. It's like my brain is heating up, right? But you got me thinking because, I mean, you're helping people avoid one of the biggest problems I've ever seen, whether it's starting out in prospecting and real estating, or whether it's somebody starting a new job, or whether it's a fitness regime. Everybody wants to achieve everything right at once. And when it doesn't happen, it's devastating. And that's why so many people fall off the rails right away. So you called it out and you said you change it one bit at a time. I think of humans ourselves as biological machines and computers, but that's more about the mind. As biological machines, think about a car. If something's wrong or you want to maintain it, do you take it down to the frame? No. Bit by bit, you improve things, you fix them, you upgrade them, just like we're doing, just like you're prescribing. But I think one of the most important things, too, because you triggered a thought I had about a section in your book, was you said, yeah, you slipped a little bit 6 months ago. We're human, it's natural. But you didn't let it destroy you and take you down the wrong path because you probably saw it as just more practice, right? I love that section in your book when you talk about practice because I too would be called a type A. You know, I love my parents, but I was always told if you got 90%, where's the other 10? And so I kept setting the bar higher and higher myself. So that's, you know, recipe to always be disappointed in oneself. But after I read that section in your book, I thought, you know what, George, it is practice. And if you think of it that way, you're going to elevate and evolve so much faster. So I love that section of your book. And I can't do it justice by talking about it because I don't remember the specific baseball player, etc. But I love that section.
Well, I'm going to give you a real life example now. So a person comes to me, says to me, I completed the book. I took my time, read through it, loved it, really inspired me that there's a lot of stuff I need to be doing in my life. And as soon as I get a lot of things off my plate, I'm going to get started. I used to be a boxer, Muay Thai fighter. I used to be in the gym. I used to be down to 8% body fat. But here's my thing. I'm having work issues, money issues, family issues. Everything is coming down on me at once. So I can't work out and I can't eat well because my brain is so cluttered with everything else. I got to fix those other things and then I'm ready to make those changes. And I said, you know, chicken, egg, chicken, egg. Do you understand that the lower you go and the more pressures and stress come onto you in life, the more you need those other things to balance you out? Do you understand eating well, going to the gym, going to lie down in yoga, getting inspired? These are all things that will help you fix these other life issues. They kind of go hand in hand. The more you aren't doing those little things, sleeping better, drinking water, exercising, you don't do these things, the more your brain gets cluttered, the more your body doesn't feel good, and you have a hard time fixing the issues hand in hand. It's amazing the correlation, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a classic if then. If this, then I'll do that. And I think one of our past episodes we were talking about, and I was saying how you shouldn't can't yourself all the time. Can't do this, can't do that. And I said it's like a 4-letter word, right? It's taboo. So I completely agree with you. I think too many people always say, well, if this, then that.
So the biggest question I get asked is, how am I going to get started and how am I going to do this? I'm really stuck. Tell them, please read the book. It's got the answers. They read the book, didn't read the book. They come to me, I'm stuck, help me. I tell them, I'll give you one little cheat. Can I give them one cheat today?
Absolutely.
Very simple. So your doctor calls you. George, we have time to do our physical. Or you called, you have to get your hearing checked, whatever being. We've made you an appointment. You're going to go see this specialist at this time in this location. So you go put that on your calendar, right? Mm-hmm. Generally, when you make that doctor's appointment, are you showing up to that appointment?
Absolutely.
You're going to keep it, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. So my little trick goes like this. Pick your day. Let's say Thursday, Friday, I find is a good time. Saturday, latest. I want a person to go on that day. So you're going on a Thursday, let's say. I want you to look at the week to come, the Monday to Sunday to come. And I want you to make a game plan for yourself. And you say, okay, I'm going to hit the gym twice next week. I'm going to do this. So it's now Thursday. Look at where your work schedule, your life schedule, everything is, your sleep, and think of 2 hours in that coming week. 2 hours. You got to make a commitment for 2 hours. I'm going to pencil this in and I'm going to work out. Either I'm going to work out at home or I'm going to go to a gym or I'm going to play hockey or whatever they're going to do. But put it into your calendar and make it as a doctor's appointment. And build yourself buffer time to get there and buffer time to leave. My theory is you schedule these events, they are going to happen. When you leave it and you come to Monday the following week and you haven't looked at your calendar and all, this week I'm planning I should be able to go twice a week to work out, but you haven't scheduled yourself. What's going to happen? I got busy. I got an emergency call. I got home late. I didn't think of when would be a good timing for me. I'll go tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow. Tomorrow will never happen if you don't schedule it today or yesterday.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I have 3 calendars. So I have to agree with you, definitely. And it makes me think of the saying, is it one day or day one? Only you can decide it's day one, right? And then you put that day one in your calendar, as you said, and that locks it in and makes a commitment to yourself. So I think that's a great hacker tip.
I have found it's funny because you have two people, let's say, and you have this one person that uses their calendar and their to-do list, okay? And everything is scheduled and they have reoccurring things that they have in their life. Everything is regimented. They know when everything's gonna get done. Here's person number two. Nothing in the calendar, nothing in the to-do list. It's all up here. I don't have to write these things down. What happens to person number two? They miss things. They forget things. People get upset with them. They're falling behind. It's funny because people tell me being so regimented and using a to-do list calendar, that seems very stressful to me. I don't want to be stressed all the time and worrying about my calendar, worrying about to-do. I just want to live my life, man. And I tell them, you're going to live your life without it being scheduled. It's just sheer chaos. You're going to go on vacation, show up at the airport, whatever. I don't know. The ticket says I got to be here an hour before, 2 hours before. You want to go show up an hour after the plane leaves? Did you remember the pack? Did you remember your passport? No. Having these little things seem stressful to input ahead of time, but the more you input ahead of time, it leaves your brain to relax and be clear. You don't have to worry about these things. So I challenge those number two people out there saying, I don't need a calendar. I don't need a to-do list. I just want to live my life. Think about how long you've lived your life that way. Think about the past year. We're coming now to 2025. Think how much things you got done in 2024 that in your head you said, oh, it'd be great if I could do this, this, and that. You never set yourself a plan. You never put a schedule. Never put those little steps into your calendar. Imagine in 2025, if you incorporate those little steps in there, how much more you'll get done.
Absolutely. And honestly, I kind of feel bad for the number two people. And I'll tell you why. Because if they can survive and live that way, they're living really small. Because as you try to expand and outgrow yourself, you cannot live like that. You need the calendar so that you do the hard things so life will be easy. If you only schedule the fun things like vacation, I mean, you're selling yourself short. So I totally believe in scheduling and having discipline.
I'm thinking about those number ones and number twos, and what I will tell them is, who are you modeling yourself after? Where are you setting your bar?
Great point.
When I decided to read about world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, heads of industry, CEOs, it was very clear, George. These people get a lot of things done. They're up very early in the morning. They're very regimented. They know I wake up at 5 a.m. I go for a walk. I eat my egg whites. I go to the gym. I open the news. I answer emails. I do my work in blocks of time. These people got ahead. And it started making me thinking about it because, believe it or not, you may think that I've been like this my whole life, right? That I just scheduled everything. I was always so regimented, type A. When it came time in high school, by the time I was in grade 11, grade 12 in high school, I procrastinated so much, I sometimes didn't even open the book till the day of the test and exam. Because I had so much confidence in myself saying, you know what, I'd rather play some hockey on my computer system and I'd rather go eat that Big Mac at 1 a.m. because that's more fun and I'll just figure it out. And then I got to university. I got to first year university and I realized I don't have any discipline and I have no habits and everybody's advancing in front of me and I'm going to drop out very, very quickly because I am screwed. I am stumped. There's nowhere to go for me here. And that's when I decided I'm going to get all my work done at least 1 week in advance. And then if surprise tests come up, if circumstances life comes up, I have buffer time. And all of a sudden, I would come to all those tests and people are cramming and they're looking at their notes. And I was just sitting there and I was all good to go. And it's going to happen because I gave myself that time and I built it into my schedule. And that's where it all, if you want to know where it all began for me, wasn't just when I got sick later in life. It started from schooling and saying, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to feel like I'm last in the class. I don't want to feel like I'm struggling. I want to get ahead. I want to be the better me. I'm seeing other people and how they're successful. I want to do that also. And it's the worst feeling when you see somebody else that's doing well and thinking, I'm not as smart as them. I'm not as organized as them. That will never happen for me. And this is where, you know, being positive and loving to ourselves, taking out those doubts and taking away that devil that's, telling us bad things, and come back to the angel and saying, the only difference me and them are systems and organization, and I'm gonna have to work twice as hard as them to get to where they are, but I can do that.
100% you can. Definitely. And I think it's a common story. Look, none of us got to, or very few of us got to where we are because we were suddenly magically created like that. And we just had everything dialed in and we knew to work our calendars. No, it was an evolution. It was a growth. You got to go through growing pains and use those pains to do better next time. To look at it like practice, as you said. Because, I mean, I myself, I'm like you. So I didn't really work as hard as I should have in school. I still got exceptional grades. And that only carried me so far, right? And then, hard work will beat talent. Discipline will beat talent. And so you hit a wall. And it's like the expression, how you made your first million isn't how you're going to make your second million. And so I hit a wall. And then I realized, okay, I got to evolve. I got to change. And then, you progress and you start to go to higher levels of understanding about how to outgrow yourself and keep outgrowing yourself. And I even talk about this in one of my workshops, which is turning out to be one of the most favorite workshops for me to deliver, most in demand, called Money Mountain. But I talk about how you have to, stop hitting the self-destruct button and understand how to push yourself forward consistently. Everybody talks about motivation and discipline, but you talk about passion in your book too, in The Soul. And coincidentally, in Money Mountain, I talk about having a passion for something, having the tenacity to persist, and then connecting it to a purpose of something greater than yourself and outside of yourself, right? One of the favorite expressions I've heard is, the warrior doesn't fight because he hates the person in front of him, but because he loves the people behind him. And that passion is what will keep you going, and that's where you're going to find your discipline. So, I mean, talking about that section of your book where you talk about soul and passion, it really resonated with me.
Well, I think that's a great segue to next week, because I'd love to have you back on for one more week and talk about
please.
passion. And I want to know, George Tremis, somebody that, I look up to, and that's somebody that helps teach me. When you consume the Bible 3.0, I'd love to hear how your life has changed and where things have gone for you and all those little tweaks. So I'm very excited. I know everybody else is excited. George, everybody, we'll see you back next week. This is the Chosen Life Podcast.